In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to visualize in 3 easy steps. Hey guys, my name is Abby and welcome back to another video. So a lot of you out there, I'm sure, have heard the concept of visualizing, that if you want to be successful, just visualize it. If you want to achieve your dreams, visualize it. What does that mean? I know me personally, when I was a college athlete, I really struggled with this. I wanted so bad to visualize like all the successful athletes, but I had no idea what that meant. I didn't know when I visualized if I was doing it right or what exactly I needed to do. I just kind of thought about what I wanted to happen, but I didn't have any sort of barometer or outline parameters of what exactly that was. And there's a lot of information out there on the internet about visualization. But I'm going to share with you today what I have found to be the most successful and help you understand what you're doing when you visualize to give you a big picture so you can be more successful in getting closer to what you want. So I think the biggest thing to start with is, why do we visualize? What are we doing? So the reason that we're visualizing is basically to change the image that we have of ourselves. Right now, you have a very clear self-image. You have an image of what you think you're capable of, how you think you're supposed to act, and what you're supposed to do in the world. And right now, you are acting exactly in alignment with that image. So this is called a cybernetic mechanism. So a cybernetic mechanism is a thermostat. You set it at a point, and when it gets too high, something kicks in and brings it back down to its set point. If it gets too low, too cold, something kicks in and it brings it back to its set point. That's exactly how you are right now with your self-image. You have that concept of yourself. So when you go out in the world and you start doing the things, you are in perfect alignment and act around that image, that set point. So when you have things like a dream or a goal or an aspiration that is beyond this set point, that's when you start experiencing issues and trouble and frustration, because you want to get to that point, but it's outside of this understanding and this preset behavioral pattern. So I don't know if you've ever seen anybody where maybe they were losing weight and they were doing a great job and they were committed and they just had so much momentum. You saw them losing weight, you saw them getting in better shape, and all of a sudden they stopped going. They started missing sessions, they started being inconsistent, and then they started putting more weight on. Another example could be if you see somebody who's doing really well, maybe they started their own business, maybe they're making more and more money, and then at a certain point they stop making sales, maybe they stop investing in their client, and somebody who used to be just on top of the ball, getting there early, starts showing up late, maybe starts making poor decisions, going out the night before and coming in not really on their best game. That is an example of what happens when you see sabotaging behavior because you're acting outside of that which you think you are. So right now you have your self-concept, you have who you want to be, that goal of you having it accomplished and having it in the world. These are two different concepts of yourself. So if you don't change this one, imagine if I was tied with a bungee cord to an anchor, and I started running. Well, I'm going to get a certain distance before that bungee system actually pulls me back to where I'm anchored to. That's the exact same idea is when you have a self-concept and you run as hard as you can, you apply yourself, you're trying so hard to get to the new version of you, but until you unhook from this concept, you'll never be able to get to this one. Now, once you do that, once you're clear, once you realize what's happening, it'll be so much easier to get to this new concept of you. So now we're here, right? You understand that all you have to do is change your self-concept, change your self-image, change your set point, and you'll be set. So how exactly do you do that? Well, the first step of visualization is understanding where you want to go. What is it that you want to do? What is your goal? You could say, I want to be successful. But that's about as helpful as saying, I want to go to the United States. Well, where do you want to go? You want to go to the Pacific Northwest? Do you want to go to New York? You want to go to Atlanta? Do you want to go to California? You can't just have a vague thing of I want to be successful, I want more money, or I want to lose weight. You really have to spend time to curate and cultivate exactly the vision you want of yourself, or you won't really go anywhere because you won't know where you're going. Again, with an example of travel, if I said, man, I really want to go to Europe, but really it's my heart's desire to go to Italy and have pizza in an old town and sit on the side where they have those cute little tables and you're just watching, the people of that community interact. That would be my dream. But if I just say I want to go to Europe, I could be on a train in Germany. I'm in Europe, but that's not really where I want to go. So this is the time in step 1 when you really zoom in, you start asking yourself, what is it that I want? What is it to have this goal? Who would I need to be? What thoughts would I think? What behavior? What actions would I take in the day? What kind of habits would I need to fulfill this vision? And what does this vision look like? If you had this job and you were able to go from making $50,000, say, to making 6 figures, what kind of house would you have? What kind of car would you drive? What kind of places would you eat? What kind of friends would you have? What kind of travel would be like in your life? Those are the kind of things you have to start asking yourself now, or you'll never know if you're getting any closer or getting further away. And ultimately, really, you'll always stay in that set point because you're not actually identifying and establishing a new set point. So how do you get from here to there if you don't know where there is? Now, to get from here to here is a lot easier because you can see the distance between the two. You can understand that comparison and that contrast. So again, the first step of visualization is understanding what it is that you want to be, what it is that it looks like and feels like. Feeling is going to be a huge part of this, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. But what is that? Every time you think a thought, you're starting to form a mold. It's going to perpetuate that idea of your self-concept, of your set point. So you really want to be clear on what new set point it is that you want. Now, step 2, we're going to take that self-image, we're going to take that new set point, and we're going to rehearse in the day. And no, you don't have to spend 7 hours rehearsing. To start off, spend 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes a day rehearsing what that would be like. What would it be like if you took that vision from step 1? What would it be like? Go in a day of the life. Feel what it would feel like. It's essentially as if you had a suit and you put that suit on. What would that be like? Try it out. Try it on for size. Let your imagination go wild. Try to see what the sights would feel like, what it would smell like. What would it feel like in the shoes you'd be wearing? What would the environment? Would you be drinking coffee? Would you have lunch at specific places? What is it? Use that time, and it needs to be a quiet place. It needs to be time where you're completely no distractions. Ideally, it's in a quiet, dark room. You can sit down, you can lay down. When I was training, I was thankfully given the book Psycho-Cybernetics, which is an incredible book, which really opened my eyes to the idea of a cybernetic mechanism. This book is written by Maxwell Maltz, and he's a plastic surgeon, or he was a plastic surgeon in the 60s. Now, what is powerful about this book is he wrote it because he started giving operations on people to eliminate the disfigurement that they had, either born or maybe it was an accident. Well, they had an idea, they saw themselves in a way. Well, when they changed it, and he was able to change this through operation, they still saw themselves the same. So he wrote this whole process, and this is what is help fueling this video right now, is that, in the book, he also talked about note cards, and that's one thing you could do. And after I read the book, when I was still training in athletics, I would use note cards to help remind me, what is it? Okay, very clear. For me, it was an athletic event, walking in the stadium, having, my warm-ups on, what my warm-up progression would be like. What would I hear in the crowd? Would there be runners running around? What would the referees be? What would the judges be there? What would it sound like? All those different things are gonna be really important when you do this rehearsal. And again, you're basically starting to connect with that new set point. And that new set point, every day you want to connect to it. You want to give it time. You want to give it energy, because you're going to start to shift over here. You're not just going to go from this old set point that you are right now when you're watching this video, and magically a wand goes around you and then you're the new set point. It's going to be a gradual progression and transition into the new set point. You're going to have to be more and more comfortable. The more rehearsals you do, the more intense they are, potentially the longer they are, the more natural it feels for you to be that which you are in your vision. Now, as a spin-off from that, step 3 is about feeling who you want to be in that rehearsal right before you go to bed. And why in the world do you care about right before you go to bed? Well, I'll tell you, it's because of what your brain is doing. In the waking day right now, you and I are both in a beta state, which is a lot more active brain, it's more engaging, it's more fast acting. Now, after you watch this, and maybe you're gonna relax, you're gonna watch TV, maybe you have a massage appointment, you're gonna slide into alpha wave, which is a lot more laid back. It's a lot more relaxed. Now, right before you go to sleep, what they call the twilight is kind of your sleep, you're awake, you're aware that you're awake, but you're mostly asleep. That's called theta brainwave. And why do we care about theta brainwave? Because theta brainwave is the gateway to communicate with your subconscious. So right now, that set point we talked about earlier is locked in based on the beliefs you have stored and programmed in your subconscious. This happened, and this was programmed between the last trimester of your mom and 8 years old. There's a lot of stuff that happened. During that time, we're almost the entire time in theta brainwave, which is your subconscious is absorbing, it's programming, it's taking meanings, it's looking at situations, and it's forming beliefs. Those beliefs have now locked you in to this set point. As you start to really question, do I really believe that? Who do I need to be? You can choose to stop that which you think right now about yourself and start making new choices, start forming new beliefs. Now, since the subconscious is programmed, you're gonna need to communicate to it. So throughout the day, you're gonna start, flooding your conscious brain with this information, this new form of you. And one other thing to note is that after 35 years old, 95% of your behavior is fueled by your subconscious beliefs. So 5%, even though it's only 5% when we're doing the rehearsal, it will have a small effect because it's a habit. It's going to be a repetitive pattern. That's going to help us start familiarizing ourselves and incorporating it to our everyday. Now, the biggest powerhouse is going to be to directly communicate with the subconscious. And that will be through the theta brainwave. So what we're gonna do is, as you start going to sleep, you're gonna get into that state of, okay, who do I wanna be and what will it feel like? The biggest thing you can do is in that theta brainwave state, that twilight state, is to feel. That's the communication of the subconscious, is feelings. So you wanna feel all those things you thought about in rehearsal and the feelings you had there, and just start programming it. Just start planting seeds, planting seeds, planting seeds, and then you're gonna go to sleep, and you're gonna use all of those hours that you're asleep to have those seeds start to be nourished and to start to grow. You do this day after day after day, and gradually you're going to start seeing yourself different. You're going to start getting closer to that new set point. And what happens then? When your set point, your cybernetic mechanism changes, you change the way you see yourself, automatically the way you see the world changes, the way you act in the world changes, the behaviors you do change, because you see yourself as a different person than you were before. So therefore, you're going to act differently than you did before. So it's absolutely incredibly powerful, and it can change your life if you try this. Try it for just a month. Try this every single day for 1 month and see how your life changes. This process helped me go from a mediocre at best college athlete to competing in a world championship team with the best athletes in the world. So I know it can change your life because it's changed mine, and it continues to change mine. It's helped me in this YouTube exploration and journey, where before I was making maybe a video a week, and I changed my set point by every night going to sleep and thinking about the meaning that I want in my life and the purpose. And my passion is to share information. It's to learn and share and help to transform and impact you and bring you a higher quality of life and bring you more happiness in it. So I really encourage you to try these for at least a month and see what you think. And I thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please click like. If you found it valuable, share with those that can help. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click subscribe below and hit the bell notification, which is going to let you know as soon as I release my next video, which is every single day. See you on the next one.